Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Nurse Midwife Bay. My name is Aisha and I'm a certified nurse midwife. This channel is intended to be your one-stop shop for all things women's health, personal finance, and nursing. And you guys, today's video is really going to be a good one. Today I'm going to be talking about the 4 habits that keep people poor. Now, if you guys are interested in this topic, then please keep watching. Guys, you know what to do. Before we jump into it, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and like this video. Again, it really lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the content. It gets this video out in front of other people just like you who are interested in finally taking control of their finances. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get into the video. I'm going to be talking about 4 habits that keep a lot of people poor. And again, this video is not meant to shame anybody or anything like that. I was in the position where I used to make a lot of financial mistakes, and so now that I've made those mistakes and I've learned from them, I feel like it's a really good thing to go ahead and share what I know about finances with you guys, okay? So this is not meant to shame anybody or anything like that. Just understand that if you are stuck right now, you don't always have to be. So let's talk about it. Thing number 1, or habit number 1, that is keeping you poor, and this is a common one, you guys, and that is thinking that you are too young to start investing. Thinking that you are too young to start thinking about retirement. I get it. I totally understand. When I first entered the workforce as a young nurse, I was just so excited to be done with nursing school that I did not even think about retirement. I was just like, I want all my money for myself. I want to be able to use money to do this, do that, travel. I've worked hard in nursing school. I'm ready to have some fun. The last thing I was thinking about was preparing for retirement. And then also I attribute that to really not knowing much about like 401k or investing. I didn't understand how it worked, so therefore I kind of felt like it was a problem or something that I was just going to sit over here to the side until it became relevant to me, because retirement just was not on my radar. And I want to tell you guys, this is a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake because the more time you spend not investing, it's costing you money, believe it or not. And so I just want to give you a quick example. Say for example, you have somebody who's 25 years old, they enter the workforce and they start investing as soon as they enter the workforce. They start investing in the Roth IRA or 401k. And let's say they're investing, and we're just going to assume that they get a return on their investment of 6% every year. By the time they get to 65 years old, they could be looking at a good lump sum of money in retirement, around $295,000 or $300,000. Okay? Now, let's say person B starts investing at age 35, all right? It's like, okay, not a big deal, 25 to 35. That's where you're wrong. So say same thing, the 35-year-old finally is interested in thinking about retirement and understands the value of it now, so they start to invest. That 35-year-old, when they get to the age of 65, they're looking at about $200,000 in their investment, in their retirement account, as compared to the 25-year-old who has almost $300,000. So we're looking at $300,000 compared to $200,000. So that's a difference of $100,000. So 10 years of waiting to invest can cost you $100,000. So that is significant. And so what happens is when you start investing, your money starts to generate compound interest. So that basically means when you invest, your money starts to gain, it starts to grow, and that growth or those gains are then reinvested, and that reinvested money creates more money. So it just kind of compounds and grows, and it becomes this kind of snowball effect, and over time you can get a lot of money. So that's why you're never too young to start saving for retirement. In fact, the earlier you are, the better, the more time you have to accumulate this compound interest. So that is mistake number 1, that people are not investing early. They think retirement is too far off, but that is not true. So even if you don't have a ton of money or a ton of disposable income, try to save up money, try to shake out your budget as much as possible to have some money that you're investing sooner rather than later. Habit number 2 that is keeping you poor is just being too lazy to do your research, not taking advantage of the personal finance resources that are available to you. I mean, we're in 2021. Information is everywhere thanks to social media and the World Wide Web. There's almost like no excuse not to know anything these days, but it's particularly important that people do their own research and start to understand how money works and how to start investing. This is so important, and I can personally say that I was not good in this area for a very long time. It wasn't until I started reading more about personal finances, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and Think and Grow Poor by Napoleon Hill and the Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki and things like that, that I started to really open my mind to money and started to really understand it more and understand like the power of it and how much like we are in control of our finances and the wealth that we can build. So once I started to really understand how money worked, it became kind of fun to see like how I could, how I can start to generate all these different avenues of income, all these different streams of income to kind of build my portfolio and hopefully one day start really having some wealth. So yeah, I mean, just really taking advantage of the things that are available to us. Books, go to the library, even if you don't have money for books, go to the library and rent out books. There's so many resources available and at our disposal that once you start to learn about money, you'll feel a lot more in control and empowered, and that will kind of create this momentum and this like snowball effect that will really keep you engaged and interested, and you'll really want to see how far you can go with your money. Habit number 3 that keeps you poor, and that is basically spending too much money on housing. Now, if you follow the recommended budget breakdown, which is going to be the 50, 30, 20% rule, 50% of your income should be allocated towards housing, your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, and your transportation and groceries, okay? That's 50% of your income, and then 30% is more of like your miscellaneous things, more of the things that you want. Maybe if you want to travel, buy new clothes, buy new furniture, that kind of thing, 30%. And then 20% of your income should be allocated towards savings or paying down loans like your student loan debt, that kind of thing. So it's really important, and it's really kind of easy to follow this like breakdown. It kind of really puts in perspective and paints a picture for you of how to break down your income. But the problem is a lot of people end up spending more than that 50% that is allocated for housing and bills and transportation on their rent or mortgage alone. So they end up spending way more money just on housing than they're supposed to, then they should be allocating for that kind of expense every month. And so this keeps a lot of people poor because they're just living above their means. So it's always important to make sure when you're considering buying a home or you're renting that your housing expenses do not exceed that 50% of your income. All right, so housing, that kind of leads us to the 4th habit, which is paying too much money for your transportation. So again, I mentioned in the budget breakdown, the 50, 20, and 30, part of that 50% should be your transportation costs. The problem is most people are spending more than that, or they look at their transportation as its own category. Actually, in fact, the average American spends about $500 a month on their car payment alone, and that's just the basic car payment. That doesn't include the insurance for the car, the gas for the car, and general maintenance for the car. Okay, so you want to make sure that when you are considering a car loan or buying a car, that car falls into that 50% that you've been allocated, for a car in your budget. You want to make sure that it falls within that 50% and you're not treating it as its own category. And you also want to make sure that your transportation cost isn't equivalent to your housing costs, okay? So a lot of people get in trouble because what happens is their transportation and their housing costs end up being very similar. So you want to make sure that your housing comes up here, your transportation is down here, and of course your other bills and things like that fall underneath that. So you guys, that is everything for this video. Those are the 4 habits that keep you poor. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully you'll take this information and start to implement it in your daily life, in your daily budget and finances. And again, if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a big like. It really does help my channel. And consider subscribing to the channel for more information, tips, and information on personal finance, nursing, and women's health. And hit the notification bell. That way you never miss a single upload from me. So that is it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.